I built a 100K ad making machine in under 10 minutes for less than a price of a cup of coffee. And this is how I did it. You must have seen ads like these going viral all over Twitter. These ads are created with VO3. VO3 is Google's DeepMind latest text-to-video AI model. You give it a written prompt and it turns your words into high-quality cinematic videos. It is built for detail, realism, and creative control, so you can fine-tune camera moves, lighting, style, and more.
Hi, I'm Zara. I help non-tech beginners that are professionals, entrepreneurs, small business owners understand AI automations without the jargon in very, very simple terms. I have losses that most communities out there are geared towards either tech people, and even if they start non-tech friendly, they quickly slide into full-on tech talk. I wanted something a bit different, just like for people like me that are low tech, but we are willing to actually put in the work and understand how new concepts work. So I created a space where beginners can actually learn, build, and keep up without drowning in theory or getting a technical headache. So I created a community for beginner in automation who want to learn just enough to build and keep up just enough. No endless theories or just things above the surface. And basically, just by sharing my learning and journey as a non-tech person, if I can do it, you can too. If that's you, you'll find the link to join us today. Now, let's build our live machine.
To automate VO3 ads, we need an automation platform. Here, we'll use N8N. So, what is N8N? Think of it like a connect the dots tool. It lets you link apps, AI tools, and data together so they talk to each other and get things done without you having to code. You drag, drop, and join little building blocks called nodes. Each node does one job, and when you chain them together, they create a complete automation. N8N is open source, basically just means the software's recipe is public. Anyone can look at how it's made, use it, and even improve it. It's like a shared cookbook. One person writes the recipe, but everyone's free to try it, tweak it, and share their own version. With N8N, that means there's a huge community of people adding features, fixing issues, and creating cool workflows.
The first node we're going to use will be sit node. What is a sit node? The sit node is where we add all the instructions we want the agents to work with. Here we're using manual mapping, which basically means we want to enter the data manually. Because there is an option for it to be automatic, like grabbing it from another workflow. Here we are manually writing the instructions. The first field to set is briefing. It's going to be a string, and I would like an ad for Porsche. I will explain everything, what is a string, what is JSON, at the end of each node, but it's just for you to follow along. Here we're going to add the brand details, string, and the value, which is going to be the JSON we want it to work with. Okay, and here we're going to add the ratio, which is how we want our video aspect, like 9:16 for like TikTok or 16:9 more for YouTube. And here is the video model. We want VO3 fast. Okay, so what does every single one mean here? Manual mapping, we explained, is just entering data manually. The briefing will be just a short sentence describing the ad you want. Example, I would like an ad for Porsche. You can call it whatever you want. String is just a fancy word for text. It could be a single word, a sentence, or even a huge block of text like our brand details. When we say type string, you're telling N8N treat whatever inside as plain text, not as a number or file. That's why even the big JSON storyboard is stored as a string. So it can be passed neatly to the AI later without N8N trying to interpret it or change it. JSON is a way to store information, like a filled form with labels and values. Just remember that. The JSON is just a tidy way to store information in N8N, just the way your workflow stores and passes information between nodes. It's kind of like the language your data speaks inside N8N. Okay, now we're going to execute the step. Here, add style brand, I just renamed the node so that I know what it is. After execution, we get what we call an output. The output is like a finished form. It hands to the next step in your workflow. If you think of the set node as a form filler. The output is the completed form with all the fields filled in. Every later node in your workflow can now look at the output and say, I'll take the briefing text, I'll grab the brand details JSON prompt, for example. I'll also use the ratio and video model values. So this is just for the next node to work with. Why this matter? Without this output, the AI wouldn't know what to. The AI agent node later that we will create literally reads JSON.briefing and JSON brand details from this output. It reads this output through a JSON format. Without this output, the AI wouldn't know what to make or what cinematic style to follow. The AI agent node later literally reads the instructions that we did output. Without this output, the AI wouldn't know what ads to make or what cinematic style to follow.
Okay, now into our AI agent that's going to act as our creative director. So the AI agent is the AI creative director. We need an AI agent plus helpers. The node we will need is the AI agent, which will refine our brief and JSON in a prompt into production-ready structured prompt. The helpers we will need with it is OpenAI as the brain, think function, and a structured output parser. What does that mean in plain English is for every agent, we need a brain. A brain is basically is the LLM that allows it to think and respond to our query. So whatever prompt we give it, whatever inquiry, whatever instructions we give it, it uses the LLM to come back with an output. In this example here, we are going to use OpenAI as our LLM. You can use Claude, you can use whatever you want. So here I'm going to use OpenAI. You're just going to connect it, OpenAI account, and you use the model that you want. Here I'm using GPT 4.1. For people who have never used that, you need just to connect your N10 to OpenAI. You need to create new credentials basically. And how to do that, I'm just going to show you straight away. If you've never done that before, you're just going to go into here and you're going to create new credentials. And here you need to enter your API key and here the base URL, which is this one. Okay. To find your API key, so you just need to go here into openai.com API, login. You need to create an account, API platform. When you are here, you're going to go into your dashboard, API keys, and here you will need to create a new secret key, okay? And that's what it is. You can add N10, whatever you want to call it, create secret key, and you need to keep that key private. Because if that key is leaked, someone else might be using it and they will end up using your LLM or your agent. And that means you will be paying for that. So here you obviously need to put some credits into your APIs so you can be able to use them. When you have created your secret key, you're going to go back into your workflow and then add it in that section. So now after we've connected our brain, the brain to the AI agent, we are going to do the following. Source prompt is defined below, which basically saying we're just going to define it manually. And what we do is we drag the briefing and the brand details. That's just how N10 works. And this automation, some of this automation tools work. You just drag those instructions for the AI agent to work with. So this JSON.briefing, what it basically says, I would like to create an ad for Porsche. You don't have to repeat that sentence. I'm just writing it so that I can explain what it is. I'm going to delete it after that. And here we're adding, make sure you follow and take inspiration from this prompt. And we drag that brand details. That's the inspiration prompt that we want it to take inspiration, the prompt that we want it to take inspiration from. Okay, and now what we need to do is we need to add a tool, which is a think tool. That think tool basically, it just allows our agent to think a little bit more, to give us more grounded results, like depending on our system prompt and what we actually want. So it helps us
It's optional, but it helps the AI agent think a little bit more. And what we'll need to add is what we call a system prompt. The system prompt is, I'm just going to copy and paste it. I will add it into the details in the community. So feel free to go and find it. It's basically a system prompt. What it does is it just tells the agent to behave a certain way. So a user prompt. So this is the user prompt. The user message is us telling the AI what we want it to do. We would like you to create this and follow these instructions. The system prompt basically means I would like you to behave a certain way. It's basically giving it the job description, like setting the tone. It's basically creating the environment of how we want the answer to be given to us. So the user prompt, you telling the AI what to do, and the system prompt is how you want it to execute that user prompt in a very simple way. What we are going to do here is after we copy and paste it, this will be available in the free community. Please go ahead and copy it. So here, if I execute this, it's going, as you can see, it will give me this output like this. It's just like a big block of text. So if I want it to be a little bit more structured, what I'm going to do is I need to add a tool that is called it's an output parser. It helps the AI define and shape. Basically, it will help the AI shape and format the answer in a way that I will ask it to. For example, I want this response to be given in a way that it's got a title and a final prompt. Okay, the title, which is the title of the ad, and the final prompt. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an output parser. This is a structured output parser. So what you do, you go here and find the structured output parser. And so when you find output parser, you need to go here and then from AI, and then you go back into your AI agent. If you do this, you see it doesn't link. So you need to go into the AI agent and you need to flick this, require specific output format. Okay, and then you can connect the output parser. And then you see, if you can see here, it added this here, which wasn't here before, and then you can connect it so it can work. Now it will give us the format that we want, well, hopefully. So let's go into the AI agent, and that's the format that we want. We'll have to tell it what we want, basically. We want a title of the idea, and a final prompt, the prompt in structured format. There we go. And now what we're going to do is we're going to run it, execute step. So here we go. That's the output that we've been given, the title and the final prompt, Porsche Born of Thunder. And here is the final prompt that we will be using to create our video. So now let's move to our production. For that, we need to go and find a node that is called HTTP request. So what is HTTP request? So before we send anything to the video making AI, we need a way to talk to it. And that's where a HTTP request comes in. So in plain English, HTTP request is just a digital envelope we send over the internet. It has an address, which is the API URL. It has a message, the information we want to send, like our ad prompt, and it has a proof of identity, which is basically an API key that says, yes, this person or this app is allowed in. The API is basically a way for apps to talk to each other. So here, our HTTP request will talk to Kie, the video maker, through its own APIs. So we need a key to be able to talk to that API. So why do we need it? Because the AI video service like Kie doesn't magically know what we want. We have to send it the right order in the right way. And that's what an HTTP request does. So now inside our HTTP request, we are going to do post, which basically we're posting information from n8n into Kie. Now we're going to go into Kie. which is going to help us get those VO3 videos. Kie API. Kie API is a website or an app that allows you to access APIs for like video makers like Suno is for music and stuff like that. Now we are going to log on. And what we're going to do is we need to actually go and pay. So under the billing section, you got to go and add some credits to be able to create your videos. I just added $5 at the beginning, and it was more than enough to play with it. Right, so you process the payment. Here, payment successful. And then I ended up with, that's what $5 given me is 1,080 credits. I think it was like they give you 80 credits at the beginning to try out, and then that's given me that. Anyway, so you go into the API key section again and you copy your API key, right? And now you're going back into your N10. And what you got to do is you go into HTTP request, you need to name it authorization. And here you need to add bearer like this, and then space, and then paste your API key and save. Here you go. Okay, so now for the rest of the workflow, you can see you need to change this into send body, and then body content needs to be raw. What that basically means, so if the HTTP request is an envelope, the body content is the letter inside that envelope. So what you need to do is in the body content type, we want it to be raw. That means you're writing the body exactly as you want it sent, without anything trying to format or change anything. It's you saying, hey, N10, don't mess with this. Send it exactly like this to the API. Application JSON. This tells the API what type of message you are sending. Basically, is this letter inside written in JSON. This letter inside written in JSON format. JSON format is a language that computers understand for structured data. Without this, the API might look at your message and go, I don't really understand this format. Okay, so here if we do drag this request just like this and then execute it, it will give us an error. Okay, that means it's saying the parameter is not a valid JSON format. What it wants it to be is it wants it to be a stringified JSON. So it will wrap all of these inside just one big JSON. So what we need to do is to give it in a different format, which is this stringified JSON. We feed it into Kie, which is a format it will understand, and then it will give us then a code saying 200 message success and a task ID, which basically means the production has started. Here we are going to add a wait node. The wait node basically is just going to give us time for that video to process, because sometimes if you don't add that wait node and you take straight from like creation and you want to do something with it, you're not allowing it enough time for that video to be created. So it will give you an error, like I don't have any videos to work with. So what you need is to add a wait node. It will give it enough time. So you need to understand how long, for example, an 8-second video in VO3 will take. I did add like just 500 seconds to be safe. So you can just add 500 seconds and for it to wait to make sure that you do have that video to work with to pass on into later nodes. Okay, and now what we're going to do after that wait node is another HTTP request, because what we want now, earlier we did post a request. So now what we want to do is to get the video. So we need to go and talk to Kie APIs again and say, we want that video to be sent back to N10. So another HTTP request. And then I'm just going to show you how you can actually go and find this URL website. So here, for example, here we've got get VO3 video details. And here you've got all the documentation related to that. And here you will find this get, and here you just go and try it, click on that, and it will take you into this page here. And then you just copy this link, and that's where you're going to add your HTTP request video URL, because that's the right address for the API to get that video. And here what you're going to do is generic credential type, header auth. I'll explain all of that. when we finish. And here is the header auth is the Kie VO3 because we've already have it as credentials. So this is your authentication through generic credential type header auth. This is how you prove you're allowed to ask the API for information. The header auth means your API key. Your secret path is sent to the header part of the request. And now we're going to send query parameters, which means that's just extra info that we're going to use to send using the fields below. It's just basically saying this is extra info you attaching for you to know exactly what I'm talking about. So what I'm going to attach obviously the task ID. So the HTTP request is saying I am trying to get the video that's got this task ID attached to it. So that Kie just goes and find that video, grabs it and sends it back to us. So the name is task ID and the value is that task ID. We just drag it in the value and then we execute the node. Right, so this is the result that we were given. We're just going to pin it. And then if we go back into Kie, we go into logs. That's where we'll find the videos that have been created. Here, we're going to see, yeah, it's been successful. It cost us 110 credits. We can do the math and see how much it actually costs in pounds or dollars. And the task ID and the result is this one. So if we do copy this result URL, which we will find here, if we copy it and paste it in Google, here it will give us the output. So this is the video that's been created for Porsche. Here we go. That's it. We want to add this video into, say, our Google Sheet, for example, so that we can keep it, we can keep the link and keep things nice and tidy. But before the Google Sheet, we are going to add a node called if. In n10, if node is basically a decision maker. It checks something and then chooses which path to follow. If the condition is true, go down the yes path. If the condition is false, go down the no path. So yes path, keep going this way. No path, go another way or just stop. So I gave it two conditions. For me, I wanted the message to be success. So if this value is equal to success, okay, if it's successful, and if the code value is equal to 200. 200 in I, as I understand it, means like it's perfect, it's working. So it needs to be, and you need to flick this into a number, okay? It has to be a number, otherwise it will not understand it. And here you go, node executed successfully. So if these two conditions are met, I want you to put things into my Google Sheets. So I just created this Google Sheet here. I'm going to call it VO3 ads. I'm going to add a drop down in the production status. One says finished, one is not started, and one is in progress. Why I need those? So I can track the status of the videos on my Google Sheet, in my Google Sheets. Here we're going into Google Sheets, node, and then we're going to say append or update a row in sheet. We already have created that Google Sheet. Okay, so what we want is to go and append it. If you want to know how you can connect all of your Google Sheet, your Google products, Gmail, Google Sheets, and everything, I did a video on this, a detailed video on how to do that. So you can just go here and find how you can connect all your Google credentials. So here I connected the Google Sheet. I want it from the list, VO3 ads, map each column manually, and the column to match on is the ID. So here is just to match the row ID, the ID like row -1, which basically just saying increment the Google Sheet. The title, we're just going to drag and drop the title of the video. Here, the prompt, which is the prompt that's been created by the agent. That gave us the audio here. If you get it red, you just swap item by first. Okay, and then here, the production status. You just need to drag that production status from the Git videos, which is going to be like 200.
Here we go. We go into get video and get that code. We can also add the message if we want. It really depends. Just for the sake of keeping this video really nice and simple, I'm just doing it this way. And the final output is going to be the URL of your video. That results URL that's been generated for you. Now execute step. And I think that's it. I think that's all we had. Okay. Let's execute the step now. See what it gives us. Here we go. Now, if we go into our Google Sheet, we will see this. But here, the production status is wrong. I did that on purpose so that you can see the difference, like, of the wording. If you have, like, even a tiny, like, letter that is, it can be like a capital or small letter, it will make a difference. So you really need to be very, very careful to respect the same wording. Here, I did finished. Look, here it's got like a capital F, while on my NA10, I used like a small f. So I need to go back there and add capital F. So it can update the status into finished. Okay, now if we do see it, here we go. It's finished. And here you've got the URL for your video. And that's done. If you really like this tutorial, please subscribe, follow, and let me know if you want more tutorials like this. And if you are a beginner in the AI space and you want to know more, join our community of beginners. I've only just started the community. I felt that there was a need for beginner-friendly communities. Like, most of the communities out there are dedicated to technical people, and even if they do start off like not being technical, but the technical terms start being thrown later on and you kind of like get confused, I'm trying to kind of keep it as beginner friendly as possible so that we can all participate, because I am not technical myself and I kind of like, it's been a bit of like a learning curve, but it's very accessible. Like, if you do understand the basics and the foundations, no matter what AI tool comes your way or automation platform, whatever the shiniest tool that will come, you will at least just understand the logic, you'll understand how things work, and then you can just adapt and adjust super, super, super quickly. So if you would like to join our community, you're more than welcome to join. I'll leave the link below. If you have never imported an already made workflow into your NA10, I'm just going to show you quickly how you can do that. So what you can do is you just go into your NA10 and you just gotta go into your NA10, and here you're going to import from file after you grab it from the community, and you are going to go here, and then that's it. This is the JSON here, and then you can just start working with it. All you've got to do is change your API keys, change whatever instructions you want to change. Here, what you gotta do is go here, and then you need to connect with your own API credentials. Anything that's got to do with APIs, you just gotta go and make it your own. But other than that, you'll have an already made plug and play workflow that's gonna be ready in 10 minutes. Enjoy.